Welcome to 2023, the year of books, booze, and besties. This is our first official recording of the new year.
Of the new year.
The new year.
It's only 9 days in the new year.
9 days in. And I feel like poo-poo.
You look like poo-poo.
I probably do. I was home all day. I was shut in.
I had to go work today.
I had a bunch of paperwork to do over the weekend.
Listen, I'm all for 3-day weekends, but when they both fall on the same day, a week apart, it really screws things up.
What?
Well, we didn't have to work last Monday.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to work this upcoming Monday.
Yeah.
It really screws things up for you.
Does it?
I have 45 clients.
Oh. I think I probably have that too.
Mine are all weekly.
I don't know. I'm still getting used to this new schedule. I'm so thrown off. I got all my school kids scheduled, but then I'm going to go in and plug like other people in where I have like lunches and stuff like that.
That's what I have to do. It freaking sucks, dude. It sucks.
Yeah. My hours are banging though.
Thankfully your school is close to the office.
Yeah, that's true.
Mine's not close to anything.
I know.
Except for a Dollar General.
Dollar General. Everything's close to a Dollar General around here.
Not my house.
Or my house, then.
We're close to a Save-A-Lot.
There's one that's like down the road in Burnside.
Yeah, this ain't Burnside.
True.
We're not in Burnside.
We're pretty close, though. Pretty close to
That's
Burnside.
where I grew up. I grew up in Burnside. Welcome
back, Smuts.
Wow, way to not let me finish my tangent there. So
what were you going to say?
I was saying I was born and raised in Burnside.
Oh. I wouldn't say that out loud.
Well, back when I was down there, it was called Tateville.
Called what?
Tateville.
I've never heard that before.
It's Tateville. It's the city of Tateville.
Is that really Burnside now?
Burnside took over Tateville.
Oh, I've never even heard of Tateville. I'm going to ask Steven about that.
When I was a baby, there used to be a Tateville post office.
Tateville.
Tateville. Yeah, I lived in Tateville. No, Tateville.
Thanks to American Horror Story, I can never hear the name Tate anymore without thinking taint.
Me too.
That's so funny.
Literally me.
What was I watching the other day where the kid's name was Tate? Oh, we're watching Yellowstone.
What's Yellowstone?
It's good.
Is that got the Duncans or Beth Duncan or something in it?
Beth, hold on. Now that you said Duncan, you threw me off.
Is that what it is, though?
Yes. And Rip.
Yeah.
Yes. It's on
It's
Peacock.
a bunch of cowboys.
Yep. We've been watching it. We're on season 2.
That sounds
it's good.
I've been watching Bob's Burgers.
There is also a 10-year age gap between us.
Listen, Bob's Burgers is banging, bro.
Yeah. Steven always
say that 5 times fast.
Banging Bob's Burgers. We lived in Maryland, and there was a Bob's. I'm trying to think how I can't remember the name of it. Bob Burgers or
Bob's Burgers.
Bobby's Burgers. It was similar, and Steve would always be like, "Let's go to Bob's Burgers."
Listen, I'm all for Bob's Burgers. You know what I'm saying?
I've never watched it.
It's good. It's more like the kids would be okay watching it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as
adult
inappropriate as like American Dad or Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it more than I like American Dad and Rick and Morty and South Park.
South Park's so funny. We watched The Ring 2 this morning.
Why would you watch it in the morning? That's a waste.
We watched it at like 8:30 this morning.
That's a waste.
I think Tristan, that's his thing he likes to do with me.
Cool, do it at night.
We can't. He's got to go to bed.
Let him skip school.
I did today.
Let him skip tomorrow.
No. Oh my God, it was already a battle. He wanted to stay home again tomorrow.
Let him.
Yeah. I'll just go to jail.
Listen, when I was a senior, I turned 18 3 months into my senior year. I had 36 tardies by the time I graduated.
Same. I turned 18
Mm-hmm.
right into my senior year.
You know what you can do when you turn 18? You can sign yourself in. And they can't call your parents and tell you when you were absent because you're your own adult.
I know. That was awesome.
I was truant.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. I still passed. I graduated with honors.
Does it even matter, though, if you're truant? Because you can just drop out at that point if you wanted to.
Exactly.
I don't guess that matters.
I already had enough credits to graduate anyway, so it didn't matter. So, like, they never did anything about it.
Yeah. I don't think truancy was a huge issue when I was in high school.
I don't either. I also didn't really care. I was still going to do it regardless.
Yeah, I can remember, like, signing myself out and stuff, but, I don't think I was, like, truant or anything.
Oh, I was. I was real fast.
That's funny. Anyway. So, New Year.
New Year's, same old me.
Same old podcast.
I ain't gonna change nothing about me.
New Year, same me.
Who dat me?
Anyway, so this week we read Still Beating by Jennifer Hartmann. And I'll give a little synopsis. When Cora attends her sister's birthday party, she expects at most a hangover or walk of shame. She doesn't anticipate a stolen wallet, leaving her stranded and dependent on Dean, her arch nemesis and ultimate thorn in her side. And she really doesn't anticipate waking up in shackles in a madman's basement. To make matters worse, Dean shares the space in his own set of chains. After 15 years of teasing, insults, and practical jokes, the ultimate joke seems to be on them. The two, who always thought they'd end up killing each other, must now work together if they want to survive. But Cora and Dean have no idea their abductor has a plan for them. A plan that will alter the course of their relationship, blur the line between hate and love, and shackle them together with far more than just chains. Moment of truth, Sarah. What did you think of this book? Okay, I have already read it before, and I really, really liked it. Lots of triggers, though. Triggers for everything. So, you're warned. So, here we are, the moment of truth. What did Sarah think of this book?
What did Sarah think of this book? I absolutely hated reading it, but it was a really good book.
Why'd you hate reading it?
Just, it was so hard to read some of those parts. Like,
oh, yeah.
I had to stop so much. No, it was a good book. I loved it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is...
No, I get it.
Like, the parts in the basement were bad, but I expected it, especially after the first time. It's when they get out and the person that's supposed to be, you know, a rock for both of them turns out to be a raging bitch and makes you hate her.
Oh, my gosh.
And it just makes it so much worse. And she makes it worse for them because then they both think that they're pieces of shit and worse off than they were with just being, you know, held in a basement for 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah. I want to talk about her sister, but let's start at the beginning. So, obviously, in the beginning, they hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was so, like, obvious, okay? It was so obvious, like, obviously there's some kind of attraction there that you're both trying to deny. And, you know, the whole thing, I got really annoyed with Cora because even, like, at points with the whole arch nemesis thing, she was very immature.
I can't understand why, though. I mean, Mandy is your big sister, right?
Yeah.
And the whole time Cora's talking about how her parents loved Mandy more than her. And
True.
Mandy was popular, and Mandy was this, and I was her shadow. So, like, Cora was still the little sister. She was still the little girl. Like, she herself hadn't grown up. And I think it allowed her to be in denial because, I mean, even Dean tried to be in denial about how serious it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
But... yeah, I mean, she was immature, but also... She'd lived in someone else's shadow her whole life.
True. But the thing is, even when they were in the basement, it was like this guy who I thought just hated me is, here with me and he's helping me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so you genuinely thought he hated you so much?
I don't know if she was in denial or if the author was just trying to make her some damsel in distress in that situation.
True. But I was like, so you genuinely just thought he hated you to the point where he didn't care if you were raped repeatedly or murdered? Like, that was extreme when she was like, what? He hates me, but I don't understand why he's being so nice. Like, you're in a fucking basement chained up, okay? So, that whole arch nemesis thing is out the window. That's not a thing here anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that pissed me off and, like, causes problems for them later on, too, but I don't think, this is the thing, though. I don't think she ever looked at Dean in, like, a romantic way, ever.
Yeah.
Like, they had the connection, sure, but, like, obviously he crushed on her first. He'd imagined having sex with Cora. But, like, when she talks about it, literally when she's thinking on the first day she met Dean, the first thought that popped in her head was, oh, this guy seems nice. He might become one of my friends.
Yeah.
Dean, when it shows him, he's like, oh, I'm going to marry her. We're going to have 2 kids. Blah, 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 blah.
I know. And it never says how he ends up not with her and with Mandy.
Well,
does it?
No, it does not.
Okay.
But I've made my own conclusion about that.
Okay.
Lily literally points out to Cora, hey, your sister's actually a bitch. And when you had a crush on that guy, she took a 3-month break from Dean to have sex with the guy you liked.
Right.
Mandy was a year older than Dean and Cora. She probably realized what was happening and swooped in because 1, Dean's hot, and 2, she's always been jealous of Cora.
Yeah.
She said it. So she saw it.
That's probably true.
And so, like, it was never a romantic thing for her either. It was a, like, jealousy thing for Mandy.
But I'm like, if he was so interested in Cora to begin with, why was it even a thing for him just to switch over? He's like, first thought is like, I'm going to marry that girl and we're going to have kids and it's going to be perfect.
Because an older girl is swooping in and catching your attention. And you started this war with Cora and she didn't understand what you were doing. So she thought you were out to get her. So she retaliated the same way. And so Dean's going to sit there and think, I guess she doesn't have a crush on me like I do her, so.
True. Or, like, Cora's self-esteem is so low. Mm-hmm. She's like, he can never be into me and just let her sister take over.
Because, I mean,
Mandy.
Because even when they were out of the basement and they were trying to figure it out, Dean was okay with just having sex with her, being her friends with benefits, if that's all she was going to give him at one point, because he was just going to take what he could get. And sure, he was a young, dumb kid there, but I'm sure it was the same idea.
Yeah.
And I'm also sure he never saw himself growing up and being with Mandy for 15 years and marrying her, but it got easy and comfortable because their parents were nice and included him, and then he lost his dad, and his mom was in I guess she would be a nursing home.
Like a rehab, or not a rehab, like a nursing home.
So, like, it was just easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he said. He said our relationship is shallow. Like, there's no substance to it. We're comfortable. There's no depth in that relationship.
And that's what Dean was trying to tell Mandy when he was trying to split from her. And I think she was just so hung on the idea that they looked like the perfect couple. And she's so materialistic that that's what she saw. That's what she cared about.
Yeah.
And it took her so long to realize, hey, he's right. Like, we're literally just friends, basically, that have sex.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, like, their abduction's super traumatic.
Yeah, I did not like that.
Yanked out of their car.
It went in so fucking fast, too. I did not expect that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I knew what was going to happen. Like, I knew at some point they were kidnapped. So, when they got pulled over, I was like, ooh, I bet this is... And you knew that guy talking to them...
Well, he had to be the one that stole Cora's wallet.
Yeah. And, another thing I was going to say, when Dean calls her Cora Bell, and she's like, don't call me that. And it's like, it's been 15 years. And you're still saying, don't call me that. Like, just let it go.
It's their thing.
I know. Some of it annoyed me.
I know, because they're supposed to be like literally like 30 years old in this book.
Yeah.
And they do have moments where they act like they're 18, 19.
Yeah.
That maturity level.
Yes.
But I think that's just the way the author wrote them.
Mm-hmm. But they're still stuck in that. I'm sure, they met, they went on this feud, and they're still stuck in that space, that time with each other. Like, we're going to feud forever, and we're going to behave like we're children towards each other. But, so yeah, she gets raped a whole bunch. I'm glad she wasn't super graphic about it, though.
I am too, but just like, the premise of Earl is disgusting. Like, to do it in front of someone. Okay, this is the thing. Like, they talk about him being like the matchmaker serial killer or whatever. Where did they even get that? When they came out with that term, there were 2 survivors. There was Cora and Dean. They hadn't even found out about Tabitha, and everybody else was dead. So what, did they just see that these 2 people were killed at the same time, and this is how they barely knew each other, so that makes him a matchmaker?
I wonder that too. Like, how did they know exactly, like, what went on? Because, like you said, everybody else was was dead. So how did he know that he, like, kept them until they fell in love?
I mean, like, Tabitha claimed she went to the police, and they couldn't do anything with her information because she didn't know his name or
where they were.
Or anything like that, so they just did a composite sketch. But she was one victim out of, like, 20-something people, so she herself isn't even going to be like, oh, he kidnapped us to make us match, to be a matchmaker, because in the end, she had faked it for him to let her go.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not like she was going to say anything that would make them think he's a matchmaker serial killer.
Right. And they never, like, Cora and Dean didn't even know that. They read it. And I was like, so how do you know that he killed them after they fell in love?
There were 3 survivors. That didn't even make any sense. So when that came on later, it just grossed me out, because then it's like, okay, Earl intentionally wanted Cora and Dean to fall for each other, but then he also wanted Dean to have to sit there and watch him rape Cora every other day.
Yeah.
In the first few days, he raped her every single day for like 3 days before he let Dean have a chance. Yeah. So, like, how is that going to make him a match? Like, that just grosses me out.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I was like, how do they even get that information? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Everybody's dead but them. And they had no idea that he was supposedly a quote-unquote matchmaker.
Yeah.
So they just, like, pulled it out of their ass.
I mean, it doesn't even make sense anyways. Like, Dean and Cora had that connection because they've known each other for 15 years, and they had the secret connection the whole time. But then, like, take Tabitha. She was kidnapped with her teacher, who she flirted with once. And they were supposed to fall in love in 22 days by watching the other get raped every other day.
Yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense.
And forcing the guy to take a turn. But, yeah. So they just pulled that out of their ass.
And I mean, think about it. Like, they were, like, way up in there in victim numbers, which means there were probably at least 10 couples before them.
I think it said 11.
And so Dean obviously had qualms about raping Cora. He didn't want to do it. He waited for her consent. But imagine how many of these people barely know the women in there with them.
Yeah.
They're not falling in love.
No. That's, yeah.
They're in there doing what they got to do. They don't care about consent at that point, because they're not going to get killed.
Yeah. That didn't make any sense. Like, I liked what she was trying to do with that. But then there should have been more survivors.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and what was the end goal anyways? They fall in love, and then he kills them, and that's what he gets off on? He let people fall in love, and then he takes it out?
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's going to be the only one that knows. That makes no point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure he had a kink, and that kink was watching, 1, abducting people, and then 2, watching your abductees have sex, and he got off on that. I don't think he was any kind of matchmaker. I think Cora and Dean just had a history in it. Worked itself out in there. Yeah. And Tabitha, she was like, yeah, I did love my teacher. I fell in love with him. No, you built a bond with him because you guys were undergoing trauma together.
Yeah.
That's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's different.
Yeah. Yeah. And now you have a child.
That you say is the teacher's, but how do you know? DNA-wise, how does she know? Because the professor or whatever is dead and buried, and Earl, like, by the time she would have claimed it was the teacher's, there wouldn't have been any DNA to test yet.
I wonder if they, like, got something from his apartment that they could have matched.
I mean, maybe, but...
Or wherever he lived. That they could have matched with the baby.
I don't know, it just...
Yeah.
Felt a lot like Cora being like, what if this had been Dean's baby? Should I have kept it?
I think she miscarried, didn't she?
She did, but she was like, what if?
Oh, okay.
Like, when she's thinking about it in the room before Dean walks up there, she was like, what if it had been Dean's baby? Would I have wanted to keep it?
Yeah. Yeah. That whole part, the whole thing was just traumatizing and hard to read, because I read it the first time, too. And I was like, yikes, this is intense.
Yeah, it was rough.
Very dark.
Also, I don't know how they survived in that basement, because where was this set at? I mean, it's somewhere with snow. Like, it was already snowing in November.
Yeah.
And they were in a basement with no clothes on. How did they not get hypothermia?
Where was it? No, I don't remember.
I don't know, but, like, I'm surprised they didn't freeze to death. And they only got one potty break a day.
I know.
I don't see how they held it in.
I would have been shitting in a corner.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see how they didn't. And,
yeah.
like, they never got to clean themselves up, especially Cora.
Yikes.
I don't know. And, like,
we all know what that means without even saying it.
Well, I know. Then you get to, like, day 22.
And being raped.
Uh-huh.
At least once a day.
Like, it just blows my mind that Earl was like, here, I want you to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
But you cannot shower. You cannot wash your vagina.
Yeah.
And you can have one turkey sandwich and a cup of water.
Yeah. But I guess, it was just barely enough to keep them alive for however long he wanted to keep them alive.
I don't know, you would just think, like, if he wants them to brush their teeth, or at least Cora, so he can rape her with a clean mouth, he'd at least want her to be clean, unless that's something else he got off on. I don't know.
Well, they said he was disgusting. In my head, I imagined, like, this huge, nasty pig who, like, where his belly hung out the bottom of his shirt.
But, I mean, he's this huge, nasty pig that also wanted them to brush their teeth. So, like, I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me. Either he wants them to be clean or he doesn't.
Have you seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Jessica Biel?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay. Well, for those of you that have, basically they go in the house at some point and it's, like, nasty. It's disgusting. It's just filthy. That's what I imagine this house to be like.
I imagine this house to be like, Miseries.
Yeah.
That house.
Yeah.
Because it was talking about, like, the old carpet, the old kitchen, everything was outdated. Yeah. So it reminded me of, like, the Misery house.
Yeah, and just dirty.
I don't know about you. And Cora was smart grabbing mail, but I would have looked for a landline first before I ran out that house with no clothes on. I would have found a jacket at least before I ran out that house.
Mm-hmm.
Or checked your surroundings to make sure he was actually gone.
Right. I thought that too. I was like, why didn't she look for a phone?
And she was like, well, everybody uses cell phones today, so why would I think about that? And I was like, sure. But you also didn't look for a jacket. You didn't scope out the place to make sure he was actually gone. You were terrified of these dogs he claims he fed people to. Wouldn't you check for them?
Yeah.
You just ran out in the snow.
I know, you just ran outside almost naked.
Absolutely not. Like, I get it. Like, obviously, I'm not in that moment, and I'm sure it was flight or fight, and she was fucking
like,
booking
I gotta run as fast and far as I can. But I would have been like, let me check for a phone real fast.
I mean, and that's why I critique it, because, like, even in flight or fight, she still stopped to look at the calendar, to pick up mail.
Yeah, to see the address.
So, like, I would have been like, let me grab a jacket. Let me make sure there's no fucking phone.
I just ripped a piece of my nail off.
Ew.
Uh-huh. It's fine. They're like hooker nails by now. I can't do anything. Can't type or anything. I was waiting for them to pop off. Anyway, that's what I do when we're sitting here chatting is I pick at my nails.
Same.
And here we are. Now I got to be, for real, they're fake nails. I didn't just rip a piece of my nail off.
She's not that anxious.
I'm not super anxious. I just pick. Anyway, so, yeah, so then obviously they bang in a more intimate way.
Which I think is a little controversial. For one reason. Because it's like, they've built up this connection, right? Sorry, I have to write this down because I cleared my throat. But, like, and they go back and forth on this themselves, too. They're like, was it the heat of the moment and we were trauma bonding?
And they thought we were going to die.
Or is it that we are actually in love with each other and I'm finally acknowledging it because we're going to die?
Yeah.
And in the end, they land on that they were actually in love and they finally saw it. But how would you really know? How would you know?
I don't know. Because even after this, like, it takes them so long just to admit things and come to terms with things.
Yeah. And even they're unsure. I mean, like, Dean is quick to think, yeah, it's because I was in love with her. But, like, she didn't even realize that she had more than acquaintance feelings for Dean until that moment. So, like, yeah. I don't know. It just felt a lot like drama bonding.
Yeah.
Which, like, fine. That's fine. I mean, like, no one's going to understand what you went through, like, the person that was there with you, but I could see why they were so confused.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so they bang in a more intimate way. I don't even want to say bang. They... I don't know how to say it.
They were coerced into sexual acts by their abductor.
Yes, but this time it's obviously more intimate and... they're connecting in some kind of way.
And you know what they did, right? They sealed their fate because the goal was for them to fall in love according to the matchmaker thing.
Uh-huh.
And if anything, that's telling him... He knew. He was like, man, I've done my job. Today's their day.
Yeah, he knew. And they knew that he was going to kill him soon. Like, it was, like, getting to be game over. But then Dean... I mean, not that I'm blaming them, but... the way they got out of there was pretty simple. Like, she just screamed and took, caught them off guard. Or caught, what's his face?
Uh-huh.
What's his name?
Earl.
I was like, Ed, that's not right. Caught Earl off guard. I'm like, man, why didn't you do this, like, a month ago?
Well, maybe I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not blaming.
My only guess is that they've been there for 21 days? Is it 21?
It was like 22, I think.
They've been there 3 weeks, so he's already he's already got that narcissistic complex. I'm never gonna get caught.
Yeah.
I'm a douchebag kind of thing. So at this point, he's probably like, I know they can't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I know. He let his guard down. He got his face bashed in.
And that's literally, I think that's what it is. Like, he let his guard down because he wasn't scared of them and he knew he'd achieved his goal. In that moment, he was probably, living it up.
Yeah.
On a high. So,
yep.
They were able to catch him off guard.
Yes.
But I understand that there is obviously a big body difference between Dean and Cora. Got it. Totally do. But Dean can go a week longer in the same conditions and kill Earl by punching him in the face repeatedly. Cora couldn't even fight when Earl was kicking her in the ribs.
Oh, yeah, and then he chucked her down the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't even see how she survived another week.
He would have had to have lost a bunch of weight, too. They both did.
Well, yeah, Cora said that by the time New Year rolled around, she was basically still losing weight. She wasn't putting anything back on.
Yeah.
So
this is where it gets a little more hairy, and I get really aggravated.
Oh, I get pissed.
Her sister and her mom and her dad are just so, heaven forbid I don't even want to put this in the universe. If something like that were to happen to any of my children, bet your sweet ass I'm going to be with them every single day. And it never even mentions her parents coming to her apartment, her going over there, but maybe like, what, 2 or 3 times?
The first time she went over there was the first time Dean, and that was 2 weeks after they got out.
Yeah. 2 freaking weeks. They basically try and act like it wasn't a huge deal.
Well, and, like, Mandy and Cora are supposed to be these best friends.
Which is such a joke.
They are not. Like, anytime it mentions their relationship, you can just tell that Cora followed Mandy's footsteps, and Mandy relied on Cora to remain popular.
Yeah.
But Mandy is literally up Dean's ass 3 weeks after it happened. It's like a month after. She's like, you were only down there for 3 weeks. I don't see why it was so bad. You should have wanted to have sex with me the second you got out anyways, because you hadn't had me in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because that's how the fuck it works. That's how trauma works. That's how being abducted and abused works.
Mm-hmm. That's what, not even her parents acted like it was a huge thing.
No, they expected her to go back to normal. They didn't care that she wasn't showing up. They weren't checking on her. They didn't care until she literally tried to kill herself. And then their response was, well, we can send you to an inpatient treatment somewhere.
Yeah.
But they only said that when she came to them for help.
Yeah. And she was pregnant. Or she was pregnant. They knew she was pregnant. And then Mandy just sits at the dinner table and was like, something about the baby. I can't remember specifically.
She literally is like, so are we going to talk about the pregnancy?
Yeah.
And Cora's like, what the fuck? No.
Yeah.
I barely made it here today. I'm not going to talk about that.
Just at the dinner table.
This is 2 weeks after they've made it out. They've barely started therapy. It takes forever to build a relationship in therapy to even talk about this shit.
It doesn't even mention them going to therapy.
She probably didn't even get out of the hospital until this point because she had so many ribs broken. She had lost so much weight.
Yeah.
Cora probably had just gotten out of the hospital, and the first thing you bring up to the man that was literally down there with her and watched her get raped her is, oh yeah, by the way, Cora was pregnant.
Yeah.
Let's just add more trauma on, because Cora's going to blame herself for losing the baby or question whose baby it was, and then Dean's going to question if it was his.
Yeah. It was really, really frustrating. They just sat at the dinner table like no big deal. Like they just didn't go through what they went through.
I mean, at one point it literally says that Mandy's talking about shoes or something to their mom. And Dean and Cora are just sitting there staring off because what the fuck are they supposed to do? It's been 2 weeks.
Literally. Like, I was just stunned at their lack of concern, caring. Like, your daughter was pregnant, and as far as they know, it was by the rapist. Because they didn't even know about her and Dean. So she was raped repeatedly, got pregnant, and then 2 weeks later, you all are just trying to act like nothing ever happened. And I'm like, I would probably, like, try and, like, have my kids move home or me move in with one of them for, a time period until they felt well enough to be on their own again.
Well, even at one point, Mandy is like, when are you going back to work, Dean? Don't you think it's been long enough?
Yeah.
And she makes the comment, you were only down there for 3 weeks. That's not a long time, blah, blah, blah. But then when it's time to talk about what she did in those 3 weeks, she talked about how she slaved away making posters and search parties and how she only cried and searched. She didn't sleep and blah, blah, blah. But it was only 3 weeks for Dean down in that basement.
Yeah.
She's literally a manipulator. She's so used to getting what she wants.
Oh, man.
She was trying to manipulate him.
Yeah. And then when, and she's like, oh, we haven't even had sex, blah, blah, blah. It was just, and then she's trying to set her sister up with a guy.
A month or two after she was...
Not even. I'm trying to think when they saw him. It was New Year's. And so, yeah, I guess that would have been like a little over a month.
Yeah, it would have been a month.
But don't they go on a double date before?
That's after.
Was it after? Okay.
But...
yeah, because that's when that guy
Mandy
gets
is trying to set them up before New Year's, because that's why Jason even tries at the New Year's party. So it's been like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Since they got out. And one, she's trying to make a pass at Dean, who probably the only thing on his mind is the fact that he just watched his sister-in-law, his fiance's literal sister, repeatedly raped. So, like, not going to get turned on by that. And then you have your sister who literally was raped by 2 people, lost a baby she didn't even know she was pregnant with, and you think she wants a date?
Yeah.
How's she ever going to trust men again, period?
Right. Other than Dean.
Literally, because he's the only one that protected her.
Yeah. Protected her, went through everything with her, you know.
Like, Mandy only cares about herself and her image. She is such a fucking bitch. This is why I read all the basement part. I got through all of it in one read. It was fine. And then I got to the shit with Mandy and Dean and Cora out of the basement, and I would stop and start. It took me 2 weeks to finish this fucking book because Mandy pissed me off so fucking much. The parents pissed me off so fucking much.
Like, they were just completely absent.
They didn't care.
Yeah, I was just like, this is bullshit. Like, I would be, like, crazy obsessed with my daughter if she got kidnapped, and then...
I mean,
I wouldn't even want her to go... I wouldn't even want them to go home. I'd be like, just stay here.
She literally starts self-harming. Unintentionally.
Yeah. And they're just like... It's fine. We're not even going to call and check on you. It never, ever mentions her parents calling. Like, Steven would lose his fucking mind.
Mm-hmm.
Steven would be like, you're moving back in with us. And it never even really even mentions her dad.
No, the only time her dad gets mentioned is when she wakes up in the hospital and it's her dad there, not Dean. And he's like, no, it's Dad, honey.
Yeah.
But I remembered something else that pissed me off, right? So, Dean leaves, okay? We've heard about all this shit with Mandy. Everybody knows Cora and Dean had sex, which makes sense. I mean, it's literally been 2.5 months at this point. He and Mandy are not together, and it's clear why. And then she goes to her mom, because she's like, Dean left, I'm having a really hard time, I need someone to talk to. And the first thing her mom says to her is, do you think we should have put you in inpatient care?
Yeah.
And then the next thing she says is, oh, don't worry, I've had many talks with Mandy. I think things are going to be okay in the future. So you're up Mandy's ass, who's crying because her fiance that was literally abused and forced to rape someone needed a break, but you're not checking on your own daughter, who was raped, couldn't go back to work for 2 months, and then tried to kill herself. But you're up Mandy's ass, who got broken up with.
Right, and how would it make Mandy look to be like... I'm so mad. They were forced to have sex with each other, and now, you know, they're sneaking around behind my back. Like, I'd be like, let's dive more into them being forced to have sex with each other.
Well, it wouldn't even have to get to that point if Mandy actually fucking cared and asked them what was going on, or asked about what it was like down there. Yeah. She just expected them to come out and resume the norm. She literally thought that Dean was going to come out and they were still going to get married in December.
Yeah. She was like, well, we haven't even talked about that yet.
She literally told him that when she wasn't crying or searching for him, she was begging vendors not to back out on their wedding. Yeah. Like he was going to come from God knows where he was at and be like, okay, let's still get married now.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
She was a total twat waffle.
And it's things like that that's like, you don't love him. You're not in love with him. You love the idea of you two.
You think you guys are good together because you've been together so long.
And you have an image. She wanted to uphold that image.
Yeah.
Because deep down, she hated herself. She had to get her GED. She said she was barely making any money at the hair salon. She hated the apartment she lived in.
Yeah.
She was jealous of her sister and her fiance.
Yeah, her fiance was the only thing that she had going for her. Sorry, I just sniffled.
No, you're fine.
I got the sniffles. It's not COVID, though.
See, Dean was the only thing Mandy had going for her, and Cora was the thing she used to make herself feel better.
Yeah.
She's a piece of shit, and their parents let that happen.
Yeah. Like, I would have been like, Mandy, I'm really sorry you got dumped, but we really need to get our priorities in check.
It shouldn't have even got to that point.
Yeah. The
first thing that should have happened is made sure that Cora and Dean are okay. Dean was literally questioning if he even wanted to be with Mandy anymore or what he wanted to do the second he got out, and it had nothing to do with Cora at that point. It was literally like, what do I want?
Right.
He was literally thinking in his head all the time, I wish Mandy would just leave me alone.
Yeah. She was like, what do you need from me? And he was like, I just really want to say to get out. Leave me alone. And that's not, when you're in a relationship, Steven is my safe space, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If something like that happened, I would want him with me. And, you know, when you truly love someone, that's...
How's he gonna feel safe if she's trying to have sex with him right after he gets out? And if she would have fucking listened to their story, if she would have fucking cared, what is the first fucking meal she prepares for him? A fucking turkey sandwich.
Yeah.
How do you not fucking know that?
Yeah.
You care so much about what happened to your fiance, and you want to hear his story, and you can't even remember the one thing he can't stomach anymore?
Yeah.
How fucked?
When she was like yelling at Cora after she saw the text message, and she was like yelling at her, she was like, you're trash. Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this.
I know, and then they try to act like Mom and Dad treat them equal. No. Mandy literally just pointed out that she herself, too, knows that the parents pick her side.
Yeah.
She slaps her in the face. She calls her trash. Says she never wants to see her again.
Yeah.
Says that the parents are never going to see her again because they're going to take her side. There are no sides. Those are your kids, the end.
Yeah. And, like, how do you even, as a parent, I don't even know how you would navigate a situation like that, but I would never take a side. I would be like, obviously, you need to shut your mouth.
But imagine how real that has to be for them, for that to be one of the insults that Mandy throws at her. Yeah. Like, it has to be so blatantly obvious that she throws that in the heat of the moment at Cora.
Like, haha, they love me more. But it's obvious they do because, I mean, Cora was kidnapped and repeatedly raped and got pregnant with, as far as they knew, her rapist baby. And they never checked on her. I wouldn't let my kids out of my sight. I'd be like, obviously, you're never leaving home again. Because just in case there's some other bad person out there.
Well, and I could tell, like, when I started reading the second, I'm going to call it the second part, or the second half, even though it's just part 2. The first dinner they show up to, it's been 2 weeks. There's literally nothing. It tells you nothing. It's 2 weeks. It's Dean's point of view. They're showing up to the Lawson family home for dinner. And the first thing out of Mandy's mouth is, Mom, I thought you said she wasn't coming today. Dean's not ready.
Yeah.
That's your fucking sister. Your sister needs to come first in that situation. You're not even married to this fucking prick.
Yeah.
No, absolutely fucking not.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then sits at the table and talks about trying to set Cora up with someone or shoes. I can't remember. It was literally a bunch of random bullshit.
Until she brings up the pregnancy, and then it's like, what the fuck? And of course, Dean at that point, you know, you would have thought he was going to be affected by that because he was watching her get raped. So it's like, she just brought it up so casually.
She didn't care. I mean, she did care about one thing, and that was herself. She didn't care about anyone in that room but herself.
Yeah.
If she really cared about Dean, she would have taken the time to see what he really needed. If she cared about Cora, she wouldn't be doing shit like that.
Yeah. She only cared about herself. And the fact that she found a guy like 2 months after her and Dean broke up says so much.
Well, she was so in love, and it was 15 years, and it made her hate Cora. And even after she and Reed started dating, who happens to be Dean's best friend, she was still like, this isn't me forgiving you.
Yeah.
I don't forgive you.
Yeah.
Bitch, I don't forgive you.
Right?
She made Cora hate herself, and Cora still believed in the end she was at fault.
Yeah. Right? Like, even, like, there was never a time like, well, she did apologize for hitting her.
But that's it.
Yeah.
She still said, I don't forgive you for going to Dean. I don't forgive you for that.
When really, like, I'm not going to pretend like that wouldn't be hard. Be like, my lover of 15 years and now here with him. Like, I get it where she's like, I can't see you guys at family dinners and stuff. Obviously, that would be horrendous. But instead of saying, like, I am working on this, you guys have obviously been through a lot together, I'm not prepared yet to see you guys together in that way, but I am trying to understand.
Yeah, it's literally, I don't forgive you.
Yeah.
But also hear about my new boyfriend that I have, who I am absolutely in love with.
Yeah.
And also hear about the one time that I cheated on Dean less than 2 years ago, and he doesn't know about it.
Yeah.
And I realized then that maybe he and I weren't actually meant to be, but I didn't want him to figure it out because, you know, we were going to get married.
Right. And he's over here like, I've only been with you and her. Because I was never unfaithful.
I mean, it's
but
like
she was unfaithful.
Every page turn, Mandy's being a cunt some other way.
Yeah.
I can't forgive you, Cora, for latching on to the one thing you had while you were in the darkest place of your life.
Yeah.
But also, I cheated on him, but he, you know, he's still the one and only for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder if I told him I cheated, how he would feel. Would he be able to forgive me? Because he wasn't cheating, per se. He, you know, he was in a forced situation. He was in a basement with a captor.
I was just waiting for the moment after Cora actually told Mandy what happened in that basement for Mandy to go, well, why didn't he let Earl shoot him? Why didn't he just die? Because in her mind, she would have rather her sister and Dean die than for them to have anything romantic.
Yeah. For them to make it out and then be together versus them both dying. Yeah, she for sure would have preferred them to both die.
Mm-hmm.
Because then she would have got to be a victim.
Well, she was still trying to be a victim. She literally slapped Cora in the face and said all these horrible things to her. Because Cora reached out to the one person that could understand her because no one else was trying to help her.
Mm-hmm.
So no, Mandy, you're the trash.
Yeah, she is. She was a horrible human being the entire time. Even at the end, I was still like, I hate you.
It's when Lily, the best friend, is bringing up the thing where Mandy slept with Cora's crush.
Yeah.
That I was like, that's literally how she and Dean ended up together in the first place, I bet, because it never tells you how it happened. You just know Mandy's a year ahead of them, and Dean started pulling pranks on Cora the day he met her.
Yeah.
That's Cora got stuck with the shitty end of the deal because of Mandy.
Yeah. I agree. Something else I wanted to discuss. You know, this was a good book because we're going on and on. Was Cora's treatment of Dean. Like, I would get so frustrated with her because she would never, he was ready to, like, go all in. And I get it, you know, she was in a very bad place, but she never recognized what she was putting him through by only giving him scraps.
I think she was just so focused on, because in her eyes, she and Mandy were best friends. That was her other half.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't the case for Mandy. And so I think she was still in a place where she was like, I still have to put Mandy first, even if she hates me.
Yeah. Even
if it's going to hurt me, because she's my for sure thing, and Dean might not be.
Yeah. But even towards the end, when she's, you know, healed and they've been separated for 8 months, actually, I think there is one place where she was like, he was healing me, but I was sucking the life out of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I just felt so bad for him. I felt bad for both of them, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt bad for him because he wanted to be with her so badly
mm-hmm.
that he was willing to just be like, screw everything. Screw Mandy. Screw your parents. I don't even care.
And I think that's just easier for him, too, because...
Yeah.
Like, sure, he's a part of their lives, but he can walk away any moment. For her, it was so much more. It was so much more involved, so much more to lose.
Even though her parents and sister were shitbags.
She just didn't... I mean, she did and she didn't. Like, she would say shit like, our parents love Mandy more.
Mandy Moore? She's not even in this book, Sarah.
Like, she would say shit like that. But she still never recognized that Mandy, you know, was a shithead to her.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in her mind, like, she has so much to lose. And then poor Dean, his dad is dead. His mom doesn't even know who he is.
Yeah, so he's like, let's just forget everybody else and be together.
The only thing he has in that point is Cora, because he didn't want Mandy when he came out of there. Mandy was not good for him.
Yeah, and he knew that, like...
Immediately.
Once he had to reflect on his life, he was like, I don't think this relationship is best.
And so for Cora, I think it was just a lot. And she was scared. And, we mentioned it earlier. I think she was still pretty immature.
Yeah.
She had a lot of growing up left to do.
Yeah. It was such a beautifully dark, sad, but hopeful story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just the fact that I think I love this book so much because they found hope and light and all that in all of that. Like they just bonded so much in a very traumatic way, but eventually they come back together and they're in a fantastic place and they're healthy and they're happy and they were able to overcome. I guess maybe the therapist in me loves this book.
Yeah, I can see that. I like this book minus anything with Mandy, and at the very end, when it's talking about
Mandy needs therapy. She's a narcissist.
Where they finally get married, and it's like there were lots of tears and forgiveness, and no. That word makes me so mad.
Yeah.
You and Dean did absolutely nothing wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you're saying you forgive Mandy.
Yeah, for her being such a twat waffle.
Then no. That part pissed me off.
Yeah.
The whole Mandy being the victim fucking killed me. Yeah. I can't. I hate that.
She was just so selfish.
And she stuck with it until the very end. Mm-hmm. She played the victim until the very end. I'm sorry that you guys were held captive and thought you were going to die at any moment and had to do gruesome things and witness gruesome things and literally live in darkness, but you hurt my feelings because you guys connected.
Yeah. You guys connected. You were forced to have sex. But yeah, she would have rather Dean get shot, him go find another man to come back and rape her sister. Mm-hmm. Rather than her and Dean hook up, or not hook up, but...
That reminded me of one more thing I wanted to make a point of. Uh-huh. Tabitha surviving Earl by pretending she liked the sex with him. How does that even work out? Because you said, or Tabitha said that she and the professor fell in love too.
Yeah.
How could the professor possibly cope in that situation? How would he...
watch them have sex and her pretend she likes it?
Yeah, how would you do that?
Yikes.
Imagine the story where Cora pretended to enjoy sex with Earl. And Dean had to, Cora and Dean would not have been what they were.
No. And
in the end, I hate to say it, but it kind of seems like that's what got the professor killed. Because then Earl wanted Tabitha for himself.
Yeah. Him letting her go didn't make any sense. I guess if it was just more important to him to kill people than it was to be with Tabitha. He was like, well, I prefer to live my life of murder and abduction.
And that's why I feel like the fantasy was, in and of itself, just watching those two people.
Ugh.
I don't think he was a matchmaker by any means. I just think he had standards and he didn't want it to be a brother and a sister or a dad and a daughter having sex.
Yeah.
Because Tilly, before Cora and Dean, was literally with her stepbrother. So...
Oh, yeah.
So he didn't care about being a matchmaker. He just didn't want incest happening in his basement.
Right. Yeah. I don't know where they came up with, the idea of the matchmaker.
Yeah, that's bullshit. It
sounds like they just wanted something for, the headlines.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because the first image they have of Cora and Dean is holding hands.
Oh, that's true.
But of course they're going to cling to each other.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. This book drives me bonkers.
I know. Really, it's just Mandy. Whenever it's centered around Dean and Cora, it's amazing. Other than the basement stuff. But, yeah.
Well, even that, though, it was horrible, but, they were there for each other, and I don't know. I could literally read through that part. Like, it sucked, but I could read it. And then you throw Mandy in, and I just want to rip my fucking hair out.
Yeah. I would rather read The Basement than anything with Mandy.
Also, why do they keep going to the Broken Oar? That would be such a trigger. Why do they keep going back to that restaurant time and time again?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Mandy takes them there and she doesn't care.
Well, they were willing to go there for their first date after they healed. And then they went and got fast food instead. Yeah. Why? Do not go there.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Absolutely do not fucking go there.
I don't know.
That's a fucking trigger. And why would Dean want the same car back? Like, sure, get a nice car, but get something different. That would be a fucking trigger for me, too.
Yeah. Well, she even looks at it and she's like...
Is that the same car? But she's also one to talk because she literally adopted the dogs they thought they were going to be fed to.
I thought about that, too. I forgot. Penny Lane and...
Something that starts with a J.
Jude? No. Hey Jude was the song she liked.
Yeah, I don't know. See if I can't find it real quick.
Penny Lane. Jack.
I don't know. I feel like it starts with a J, though.
I feel like it is, too, but I also... June? No, I don't know.
Maybe.
June and Penny Lane? I remember Penny Lane.
I'm looking. Yeah, it's Jude because it's Penny Lane, Jude, Lucy, and Rigby. That's all 4 dogs they have in the epilogue, so it would have been Jude. It's Penny and Jude. That's a little...
Yeah. The dog's name was Jude.
Just magically was Jude, huh?
Yeah. Maybe I think she changed their names.
Oh, well, maybe if she did, that makes sense.
She probably didn't even know their names from when Earl had them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Jude and Penny. Yeah, I can't imagine Earl naming a dog Penny Lane.
I can't imagine Earl having a Yorkie.
True, that he said was going to eat people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was just a scare tactic to try to keep people from escaping.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I said what I said about her just running out the door.
Mm-hmm. So what do you give it?
I don't know, like a 4.25 out of 5.
I can handle that. I would probably do a 4.5.
Mandy I'm not joking. After I read the part about, you were only down there for 3 weeks, Dean, and then I got to the part, how far did I make it? I think it was when she was trying to set her up with Jason. Yeah. And, okay, so I read up to the part where he gives her the locket, and then I had to stop for a really long time because I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Because I know where this is going to go.
Yeah. I do want her tattoo, though. With the heartbeats and the heart in the middle. Uh-huh. I like that. I want that tattoo. I want a lot of tattoos right now.
Same.
But, yeah, I would give it a 4.5. Her parents and her sister sucked really bad.
And poor Blizzard.
I know. I mean, when he got out of the car to help her get that dog, that he was in love with her.
I mean, Lily, her best friend, is literally like, you can't tell me that you guys haven't felt the spark, and then pointed out like 70 times over the last 15 years where there was a spark. Like, damn, best friend, why didn't you bring that up before now?
And I did have an issue with how the length of time that her sister had been with him. 15 years? That's a long-ass time. Mm-hmm. I've just now been, me and Steven will be together 16 this year. That's a long time for me to be like, you're banging my sister now. And everybody, I don't know. I know we've talked a lot about that, but I don't know. That's a long time. And they didn't even live together.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
It's
like,
a huge red flag in the relationship.
Yes, I understand why Mandy was hurt. But you guys didn't get married in 15 years?
15 or even live together.
You guys were high school sweethearts. You didn't live together. You literally called the relationship quote unquote comfortable. Mandy cheated.
Yeah, it was a lot of bad stuff happened in that relationship.
Like that's a red flag. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't take 15 years to get married or but some kind of commitment, like even moving in together.
Yeah.
Like that's just...
Because he had his own place and she was living with a roommate.
Uh-huh.
So, hello. At what point are you like, I'm 30? I still live with a roommate, but my boo has his own apartment all by himself. But he's not asking me to live with him either.
And it didn't faze her. Like, she still wanted to be a party girl.
She wanted to be a party girl, and I think it didn't faze her because she was like, I'm going to move at whatever pace he wants to. Because we are the perfect couple.
Like, it just blows, like, sure, you've been with him for 15 years, and it's going to hurt if he and your sister end up together, but you guys couldn't have been that real for you guys to go 15 years, only 4 of it in high school, so the rest of it you're an adult.
Yeah, 11 years.
Living apart, split up for 3 months at one point, and the first thing Mandy does is sleep with other guys.
Yeah.
Dean doesn't.
Yeah, he never...
She cheats on him.
Yeah, even though Cora thought he was a man whore.
Mm-hmm. Like, it made no sense.
I agree.
And even the mom, when she's talking to Cora, was like, yeah, I knew they had drifted apart, and I knew that they just weren't what they used to be.
Yeah, but you were still going to let your daughter marry him without at least saying, like, I feel like you're making a huge mistake. I'm going to support you, but this is my take on it right now. Yeah, it was so dumb. I don't know. Her parents sucked real bad, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Mandy was like, she wasn't supposed to be here. Like, she needs support.
That's her fucking parents. That's just people Dean knows.
Yeah.
By default because of you. Fuck you, Mandy.
Yeah. Mandy could fall off the face of the earth and I wouldn't care. Because she's such a selfish bitch.
I don't know. I just think it's really sus that the one person she immediately falls in love with after that and wants to marry is Dean's best friend.
Yeah. Just, it definitely wasn't she wasn't trying to, like, get him back or anything.
No, that's literally exactly
Insert
what it was.
eye roll.
Because the first thing you do is tell Cora you don't forgive her, and then you talk about how in love you are with this guy, even though you've been with him for less than 2 months.
Yeah.
You guys get engaged after 6 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was 30, though, so she was probably, like, really trying hard to find somebody and just get married. Because she was in a shitty situation.
Well, she was also talking about how she thought that she and Dean were going to be having kids soon, and now she knows that it'll be Cora and Dean instead, and she just wants to be a mom, and then, like, it jumps into the future, like, 7 years, and Cora and Dean have 2 kids, and Mandy has 0, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. And now she's 37. So... I don't know, man. I really like this book, though. Our next read is Twilight.
It's your mom.
Your mom. The next read is at your mom's house.
She does have Twilight, so it could be, yeah.
I've started it.
I haven't because Still Beating took me 2 weeks to get through.
I know. It's a rough one.
It wasn't even those parts that made it hard to read. It was fucking Mandy.
I know. Fucking Mandy. But it's a good book. But, yeah. So our next read is...
Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, in case you bitches didn't know.
I was going to say, in case you didn't know, Stephanie Meyer wrote Twilight. And that will be out. So this will be out what is the... 11th.
And then the 18th will be Twilight. And then the 25th will be TBD.
Yeah, we'll post it. If you're not following us on social media, you should be. We're on Facebook and Instagram. I gave up the Twitter.
The tweets.
Yeah. So we're on Facebook and Instagram. So like, review, subscribe. Yeah, that's it.
That's literally it, guys.
All right.
We'll catch you next chapter, Smuts.
Bye.